I never expected a shared garden fence to bring someone so close into my life. My small backyard garden was my peaceful place after long work days. One warm evening, I was trying to fix a heavy hanging plant that had slipped from its hook on the fence. I stood on my tiptoes and reached up, but the pot was too heavy for me to lift alone. From the other side of the low wooden fence, a calm voice said, "Let me help you with that." I turned my head. My new neighbor was standing there, only a few steps away on his side. He was tall with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Before I could answer, he reached across the fence. His strong, warm hand brushed firmly against my arm as he took the heavy pot from me. The touch of his bare forearm against mine sent a slow, sweet spark through my whole body. I felt it deep in my chest. He did not pull away right away. Instead, he let his arm rest gently against mine while he carefully hung the pot back in place. "Thank you," I said softly. "No problem at all," he replied with a warm smile. "These things are heavier than they look." He kept one hand on the fence near mine. Our fingers were close now, almost touching. The evening air felt suddenly warmer between us. "I'm Rohan," he said. "I'm Neha." We started talking across the fence. Easy words at first, about the garden, the pretty flowers, how nice it was to have a quiet backyard after busy days. But soon the conversation became more personal. I told him I had moved here to find some peace after a difficult year. He shared that he worked from home and often felt the evenings were too quiet. While we spoke, he leaned a little closer over the fence. His hand brushed mine again. This time he let his fingers rest lightly on top of mine on the wooden rail. The touch was gentle but full of warmth. I did not move my hand. Instead, I turned my palm slightly so our fingers could link. We stayed like that, hands connected over the fence, talking as the sky turned orange with sunset. The closeness felt so natural. His thumb moved in tiny, comforting circles on the back of my hand. I leaned toward him, letting my shoulder press lightly against the fence near his chest. The longing started right there, a beautiful, warm ache that grew with every small touch. From that evening on, our garden fence became our meeting place. Every day after sunset, one of us would step outside first. The other would soon follow. The closeness started immediately. Rohan would reach across the fence and rest his hand on my waist or my arm, pulling me gently toward him. I would lean into his touch, letting our upper bodies press softly against the wood. His hand would stay on my waist, fingers making slow, soothing movements while we talked. We stood like that for hours, his arm around my waist over the fence, my head resting sideways against the rail near his shoulder. Sometimes the wind would blow, and he would pull me closer, his hand firm on my hip to keep me steady. I would reach across and rest my hand on his chest, feeling his steady heartbeat. Soft kisses became part of every evening. He would lean over and kiss my forehead or my temple when words felt deep. Each kiss was warm and tender, making the longing inside me bloom sweeter. One evening the sky was especially beautiful. Rohan reached across with both hands and held my waist, pulling me as close as the fence allowed. Our hips pressed gently against the wood. He looked into my eyes for a long moment, then leaned in and kissed me on the lips. A slow, caring kiss, full of the emotion we had been sharing night after night. I kissed him back, my hands resting on his shoulders. We stayed like that, bodies as close as the fence permitted, kissing softly while the sun disappeared. When the kiss ended, he rested his forehead against mine across the rail. "I look forward to these evenings more than anything," he whispered. "So do I answered, my voice full of the same longing. We talked more while staying wrapped as close as we could be. I told him about the fears I carried from past heartbreaks. He shared how work had kept him busy, but left his heart empty. His hands never left my waist or my hips. His fingers stroked my sides in long, comforting lines. I would press closer, letting my body lean fully against the fence so I could feel his warmth. As weeks passed, the fence no longer felt like a barrier. One quiet weekend morning, I stepped outside early. Rohan was already there with 2 cups of coffee. He passed one across, then reached over and took my hand. He held it for a long time, thumb stroking gently. Then he pulled me closer and wrapped his arm around my waist again. We stood drinking coffee with our bodies leaning toward each other, hips touching the fence, soft morning kisses on my hair and temple. The longing between us was constant now, that beautiful warm ache of wanting to be nearer than the fence allowed. But we kept everything tender and respectful. Every touch carried care. Every kiss felt full of emotion. One evening, Rohan brought a small wooden step stool. He placed it on his side and stepped up so he could reach me better. He leaned over the fence and pulled me gently into a half embrace. His arms went around my shoulders and waist. I wrapped my arms around his neck as much as I could. Our upper bodies pressed together over the wood. He kissed me deeply then. Slow, emotional kisses that made my knees feel weak. His hands moved soothingly over my back while we stayed like that for a long time. After that night, he started coming over to my side of the fence more often. He would carefully step across the low rail onto my garden. Now, with nothing between us, he would pull me fully into his arms. His hands would settle on my lower back, drawing my hips flush against his. I would melt against him, arms around his neck. We stood in my garden holding each other tightly, bodies pressed together from chest to thigh, swaying gently in the evening breeze. We talked for hours while staying wrapped in each other. His hands stroked my back and hips in slow, caring movements. I rested my face against his neck, breathing him in. Soft kisses came whenever we wanted, on my lips, on my forehead, on the curve of my neck. The emotional connection grew deeper with every shared secret and every gentle touch. One late night we sat together on the grass in my garden. I sat between his legs, my back against his chest. His arms wrapped completely around my waist, holding me securely. My hands rested on his arms. We looked at the stars while staying tangled together. He kissed the side of my neck softly and whispered, "That first evening when my hand brushed your arm over the fence, I didn't know it would lead to this, but I'm so glad it did." I turned in his arms and kissed him slowly. "I am too." We stayed like that until very late, bodies close, arms holding each other, hearts open and full of longing. The beautiful tension never left us, but it always stayed tender and respectful. As months passed, the garden fence became the place where our story began, but our closeness grew far beyond it. We spent evenings inside my house or his, yet the same gentle touches remained. He would cook with me standing behind me, arms around my waist, chin on my shoulder. We would sit on the couch with me curled in his lap, his hands stroking my back. Every night ended with us wrapped together, soft kisses, warm embraces, deep conversations while staying physically close. That first touch over the garden fence, his warm arm brushing mine while helping with the hanging plant, had opened something deep and beautiful. It brought me warm hands on my waist, strong arms around my body, gentle kisses on my skin, and a real emotional connection that made my quiet evenings feel full. Now when I step into my garden in the evening, I smile before I even reach the fence, because I know Rohan will be there, ready to reach across, to pull me close, to kiss me tenderly, and to keep building this sweet, intimate bond that started with one warm touch between 2 neighboring gardens. He is my garden fence neighbor, and every evening with him feels like the beginning of something warm, tender, and truly beautiful.